So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today I have to admit I'm feeling a little bit stupid because I just recorded this video for about 20 minutes, went to edit it and realised I hadn't turned the microphone on, so it was literally muted. So, you know, subscribe if you want to see this genius at work more often. So, let's try this again. Kim Min-Jae. Should Manchester United sign him? He's one of the best centre-backs in Europe at the moment, so should Manchester United be looking to bring him in? Now, some of you will go, what's he talking about? United don't need a centre-back. They've got Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. However, I think what we've all seen this season is that Ten Hag has really had to manage Rafael Varane's minutes. We don't see him playing too often when United have 4 or 5 games in a row. Rafael Varane will often miss the midweek one, or for example, Everton at the weekend, he missed that game, simply because he's a bit too injury prone at this stage in his career. So we saw it last season as well, often injured. So I do wonder if maybe United will be looking for the chance to sign a centre-back. Varane doesn't entirely fit the profile of what Ten Hag wants either. He's perhaps not as good on the ball as what Ten Hag would ideally like. I'm not saying this is necessarily a priority position. However, when there is a centre-back available with a 39 million, 40 million pound release clause coming into play in the summer, who is this good at football, you do have to consider it. And the talks are Fabrizio Romano saying that United are looking at it. Nothing is going to happen yet because Kim is focusing on his football with Napoli till the end of the season. But United are keeping an eye on it. So if United are keeping an eye on it, we should be as well. So let's talk about what Kim Jae would bring to his team. And as I've said already, he would be coming in as the right centre-back. Now straight away, this isn't necessarily completely natural for him as such, because this season with Napoli he has been a left-sided defender. However, he is actually right-footed, so I think he could make the kind of transition. However, we will discuss that again later on in the video. But let's talk about initially what he would do in possession, because I think that would be the main reason why United are signing him. And the first thing that he brings in these deeper areas is press resistance. Now, just before we go any further, I want to clarify what I mean by press resistance, because it's very different for a centre-back to what it is for a midfielder. When we're talking about a midfielder being press resistant, let's look at Casemiro in this area. We're talking about the fact that he's going to receive this pass, and chances are the pressure is coming on the back of him. So he's got to kind of be aware of what's around him and have the ability to turn. Whereas a centre-back, when they are pressed, everything is in front of them. So it is a very different type of press resistance, however it's still a very important trait, and Kim Jae is very good at it. Now, not in the same way that Lisandro Martinez is. Lisandro Martinez is very nimble, he dribbles almost like a winger at times. He'll literally kind of invite the pressure just so he gets to take on the man, and he does that very, very well. Kim Jae doesn't do that. Instead, he tends to prefer to pass his way out of pressure, so he's not necessarily going to drop a shoulder and go past his man. But short passing is really, really good. Now, what we often see when he's been playing the left centre-back role this season so far is when he's getting the ball back here, sometimes he'll clip a ball on his weaker left foot into this wide area for the winger to come onto. He does that very, very well. But also sometimes he'll receive the ball, open up his body, kind of let the ball go across his body, and then play infield. Where again, a little short combination play like this allows the team to play out from the back. So Kim Jae, if brought into the team, would definitely bring press resistance, mainly with short passing. However, on top of that, he also brings the ability to step forward out of the back. Now, these are more carries rather than take-ons. Lisandro Martinez is a bit more of a player who looks to take people on. Kim Jae prefers to stride forward into space. You know, he's not going to use quick feet and again a drop of a shoulder or a turn to get out of pressure. He will just stride forward with the ball. And this is actually reflected in his FBref report, which we can see here. Carries ranking in the 90th percentile, progressive carrying distance the 71st percentile, progressive carries the 80th percentile, and carries into the penalty area, which we will come back to. But what we can see is that in the first phase of possession, he would definitely be an upgrade on Rafael Varane. Varane has done reasonably well this season in these situations, however it just isn't natural to him, it's not really what he excels at. Kim Jae is much better on the ball. Now importantly, this continues into the middle third as well. It's one thing being good in your own defensive third, good at playing out of pressure, that's really important. However, to be a top player at a top team like Manchester United, who want to be possession based, who want to control the ball, you do need to bring a bit more than that. And again, this is an area where Rafael Varane perhaps struggles a little bit. Kim Jae doesn't. His progressive passing is just so good. The way that he moves the ball forward through the lines is brilliant. Now, he's right-footed, but he can do it on his left foot or his right foot. Passes in between the lines, he absolutely fires them into the feet of these players in these little pockets of space, and it's just genuinely really, really impressive. And I kind of emphasised there the fact that he fires it in. I really like his weight of pass. Some players in this situation, perhaps Harry Maguire is actually a good example, they play the right pass into the right area, but sometimes the pass is a little bit slow, making it difficult for the kind of player receiving the ball to then get on the turn or drop a shoulder and take on their man. Kim Jae has a real good weight of pass, and what it does, it just increases the tempo naturally, because you're moving the ball forward quickly at pace, and it just helps you to exploit the opposition's defensive structure if you move the ball at a quicker pace. This is something which Kim Jae does really well. And in general, he is quite clearly a player which is comfortable on the ball. Passes completed, passes attempted, the 96th percentile. Progressive passing distance, the 96th percentile. Progressive passes total, 83rd percentile. Just a player which is really, really comfortable on the ball. In terms of passes completed, short, 97th percentile, medium, 93rd percentile. Kim Jae wants to get on the ball and make stuff happen. And again, this is what Manchester United need. At the moment, United are overly reliant on Lisandro Martinez to progress the ball from these deeper areas. Because, like I've said already, Varane it's not what he wants to do. Kim Jae does want to do it. But again, also he will bring carries as well. So yes, he's happy to move the ball forward through the lines like this and at times keep the ball with sideways passes. If he sees this gap open up, he will stride into it. He will not hesitate. He will go into these spaces. And again, like I was saying earlier, we would come back to it. Let's just find it here. The bottom there carries into the penalty area, the 87th percentile. This is a centre-back which wants to step forward. Now, I'm not saying he's going to do this 6, 7, 8 times a game, because that just doesn't happen from centre-backs. But if the spaces do appear, Kim Jae will step forward with the ball. And when he does it very, very well. It helps that he is quite two-footed. Some players only are able to control the ball on one foot. He is comfortable kind of shifting it to his left foot, to his right, to his left, whatever. Also with his passing. It all just makes him really good on the ball. And in terms of in possession, it's almost exactly what Manchester United need from the centre-back position. Now, of course, all of this is nice. In the modern day, we want these centre-backs which can take the ball under pressure, which can carry the ball forward, which can fire passes between the lines, quick, short combination play. We all absolutely love that. But it's only useful if you can actually defend. Because at times, even if you play for a possession side which has even 80% of the ball, you have to do some defending. Don't worry, Kim Jae is more than comfortable doing the defensive side of the game. And one of the main reasons for that is because physically, he's just a bit of a beast really. 6'2" tall, very, very strong, very, very good in the air. But then also, perhaps a little bit surprisingly considering his size, he's very, very quick as well. So from a physical point of view, he doesn't really have a weakness. Shoulder to shoulder up against a striker, he will win that battle physically. Up in the air against a big striker, most of the time he will win that battle. And then also, pace race in behind, he has the pace, the recovery pace to keep up. And it just makes him a really good defender. In terms of stylistically what he wants to do from a defensive point of view, he's a front foot defender. If the ball is being rolled into the striker in this area like this, Kim Jae is someone which is very, very intelligent. He will read the play, he'll anticipate it, his awareness is very good, he will step forward and intercept the pass, and also this is where that physicality comes in handy, because if he is up against a big striker who's trying to hold him off, he has the size to compete. Sometimes he'll just bypass that completely though and just step in front of them, take the ball, and he does that very, very well. A very good front-footed defender, similar to how Lisandro Martinez does it on the other side, just with a bit more strength and power about it really. But also, whilst he's doing all this the whole time, he just looks so controlled, so composed, and it gives him that kind of a vibe of a Rolls-Royce defender. It just makes him very, very good. Now, importantly, like we've said already, he has the pace to go the other way. Now, the reason this is important is because if he did sign for United, he would be alongside Lisandro Martinez, who we know is also a front foot defender. Now, the problem when you have two front foot defenders is that people will go the other way, but Kim Jae's intelligence gets him out of these situations, but also his recovery pace is just very good. So, again, that would be ideal for kind of sweeping up behind Lisandro Martinez at times. Again, I just think it would work really well. The South Korean's ability to defend is also shown in his FB ref report. Now, you might look at this initially, and particularly that top third, look at it and go, well, it's not really that good. The numbers aren't very good. What we have to consider though, and always have in the back of our minds, is who he is playing for. He is playing for Napoli, top of the league in Italy by an absolute mile, and they average 60% possession per game. Now, the reason that is important is because the amount of the ball you have is obviously going to impact how much defending you can do. If I sit in a team which has 30% of the ball sits quite deep, there's the chance for tackles, interceptions, headed clearances, all of that stuff. When you play in a far more possession-based side, of course you make less tackles, because you have more of the ball. If your team's got the ball, you don't need to make a tackle. So that's why some of these numbers are lower. However, what we can still use is the percentage stats, because this indicates it doesn't really take into consideration how many you're doing per game, just when you're in that situation, can you deal with it? And this is where he ranks best, the 99th percentile for the percentage of dribblers tackled and challengers lost. He's a really, really good 1 versus 1 defender. Again, this is something which Ten Hag really needs in his sides, because his players do push forward. We know that Ten Hag likes to push men forward, which means at times you are susceptible to the counter-attack. Kim Jae is very, very good when he's put into these isolated 1 versus 1 situations. A really good defender, proved it in the Champions League against Liverpool earlier in the season in the group stage. And again, he's just really good. Now, of course, no matter what side you play and how good the team is, there are situations where you have to defend really deep. It happens in every team. Sometimes you've just got to defend your box. Does Kim Jae tick that box? Yeah, he does. He's a really, really good box defender. We can see it kind of in his aerial duels here. He wins a lot of aerial duels standing at 6'2" tall. He's very good at commanding the box, balls into the box. He deals with a lot of them. But what I also like is not just his ability to kind of read the play and head the ball away, or slide in and block a shot, or muscle a forward out of the way. That's all good. Of course, we've got to see that. But he also brings real leadership. If you watch Napoli and the ball goes into this sort of area here in their fullback position, from a defensive point of view, the amount of times you will see him in the middle, he's pointing, shouting, he's dragging players into position, getting his team ready to deal with what is about to come. That's just really good leadership. He really is a leader at the back. And again, he's like a Rolls-Royce defender. He just makes it all look so easy. So the question at the start of the video was, should Manchester United sign him? I think it's a difficult one. I will admit I have two slight queries. One is the fact that for Napoli he plays on the left side of defence. Manchester United needs someone to play on the right side of defence. It's a slight hiccup. Personally, I think he's more than capable of adapting. I just think he's that good at football, that kind of intelligent, that fundamentally based, really good. I think he'd be fine to adapt. The other issue I have is the fact that he plays in the Serie A. Now, just kind of bear with me for a second on that one. The reason I say that is because the Serie A has a reputation, Italian football in general, for being a bit more defensive, a bit of a slower tempo. Of course, when that happens, it is easier to defend. Are Kim Jae's performances looking better because they're in the Serie A? For example, Koulibaly, really good at Napoli for about a decade, moves to Chelsea. Granted, an awful Chelsea setup, but he's struggling. Would the same happen with Kim Jae? That is where I've got a slight question mark. Personally, I think he would do very well in the Premier League because I just think he's so good in so many areas that he would adapt. And you know, to me, he looks like a top-level defender. At the moment, this season, one of the best defenders on the planet. But it is just a question which we can't really get the answer to until he makes the move somewhere. What I will say, though, is that I don't think he will be at Napoli very long. Italian football in the modern era isn't really where the best players tend to want to play for one reason or another. I think he'll get the move. The question is, will it be Manchester United? Well, I'll be honest. Centre-back wouldn't be my priority because I think you can cope with Varane and then Lindelof as backup. I think you can cope with that for another 12 months. However, if Ten Hag kind of in his head is thinking, in the next 18 months I want a new right-sided centre-back, then I would be going for Kim Jae straight away. Because you will not get a better defender on the market in the next 18 months, let alone for £40 million. He is such a good player. If United need a centre-back, this is who they should go for. Maybe prioritise elsewhere, but if you make the decision that you need a centre-back, go for Kim Jae. I think that's probably kind of a good way to conclude the video. It's kind of my thoughts. I think he's such a good player. He's so good in every area. He doesn't really have a weakness in possession or out of possession. He's a leader. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant defender who, whoever he moves to in the next couple of years, they're getting themselves an elite centre-back, I hope. Should he join Manchester United? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Would you be prioritising a right-sided centre-back, or do you think Varane is fine? If you are bringing a centre-back in, is this the guy you would go for? It is for me, but let me know what you think. What are some of his other strengths, which I haven't covered, because it is quite a short video? Weaknesses. What are the weaknesses in his game? Again, let me know what you think. Apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.